I made the decision to get rid of my Windows laptop and switch over to a MacBook just over a year ago. So after some extended use and getting over the learning curve, I figured right now is the best time to answer the question, is switching from PC to Mac worth it? Obviously, both PCs and Macs have their own pros and cons and dedicated fan bases. And everyone is going to have different and unique needs for a laptop or a desktop. So today, let's explore the key factors that you want to consider when deciding whether or not you want to make the switch to Mac. Firstly, and in my opinion most importantly, let's talk about the ecosystem. This is really the biggest point where the two platforms have the biggest differences. So you hear a lot about the Apple ecosystem, but what does that actually mean? When you're switching to Mac, what that means is that you're just going to have a seamless integration between your Mac and between any of the other Apple devices that you own. Your AirPods will automatically connect to whichever device you're using. You can use AirDrop to transfer files between Apple devices without using any cords. All of your mail, calendar, messages, reminders, etc. will be synced up. Your passwords are all saved across all devices, and you can actually even copy something on one device and using the universal clipboard, paste it onto another one. The list really just goes on and on and on as far as continuity and seamlessness goes. And this really is what drew me into wanting to use a Mac. When I first started making YouTube videos, I was using a Windows laptop, and it just felt super clunky. Being a YouTuber has me switching from device to device all the time, and the seamlessness that you get when going from an iPhone, which I'm filming this on, to a MacBook is just unparalleled on Windows. This type of handoff is essential for having high productivity and really is just invaluable in saving time. Now let's talk about performance. PCs definitely have an upper hand here when it comes to just having a much wider array of options and customizations that you can use which aren't available on Mac. Flexibility like that is definitely helpful for certain people, especially if you're looking for performance-intensive tasks like gaming. But on the other hand, Apple's computers are built pretty much to be used by anyone. Even though they don't have much as far as customization goes, what Apple has up their sleeve is their processors. Now my MacBook that I use every day has the M1 chip in it, and this computer has never had any issues with any task that I've put in front of it, which is mainly video editing. So that has been very nice and a very big difference from my previous Windows laptop. And now, Apple just recently released their M2 processor, which is even better than this one. This is said to be the best processor on the market regardless of where you go. So this is definitely going to give you an upper hand, and basically that just means that you're going to have very fast speeds and not have to worry about any buffer or lag regardless of what it is that you're doing on your computer. And if you choose a MacBook, another advantage is that you also get very long battery life. With my MacBook, I'm actually able to work on it pretty much all day long and not have to charge it once until the end of the day. And all of this great performance is held within a very small and a very lightweight form factor. So that's definitely another great advantage as well. And software is something to consider. Since Windows PCs are pretty much universal and just about everywhere, you are going to have more access to pretty much every software available on a Windows PC. Now Macs do support a lot of softwares, but it is a little bit more limited than a Windows PC will be. But if you want to flip that around, another perk at least of the Mac is that they do have Apple exclusive software when it comes to Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro. And obviously you can't access those on Windows. So just make sure to be mindful of which softwares it is you want to use with your device, because that's definitely a factor to consider just to make sure that everything is compatible. Design and aesthetics. Apple is just known for having a minimalist and sleek design on their products, which is definitely a big appeal for a lot of people, including myself. There's a reason that the MacBook Air, at least according to Apple, is the #1 selling laptop in the world. And really that's because with a Mac, you know you're going to be getting premium build quality, attention to detail, and beautiful displays. Now, PCs are definitely capable of this as well, obviously, and I would say in the last few years, PCs have kind of gotten to the point where they're a lot more competitive when it comes to design and aesthetic than they used to be, but it's really just still not the same in my opinion. There's really just something different about Apple devices. It's kind of hard to put it into words. I've just never had a laptop that looks so nice and just feels nice to use when I'm using it. And lastly, a factor that just can't be ignored is going to be cost. Overall, PCs are going to have more budget-friendly options than you will find in the Apple ecosystem. So if you have a specific budget or you just have a certain amount of money that you want to spend on it, you can shop at different price points and budget levels to find the best Windows PC that will fit within your budget. Macs in general are just going to be a little bit more expensive than most Windows PCs, but that's the Apple tax, right? You're going to pay a little bit more to have a premium build, to have the Apple logo on it, but most importantly, that's the premium that you pay to get the compatibility and to get the features that are exclusive to Macs. So, all things considered, is switching over to Mac worth it? You can probably guess that my answer has been yes. Your mileage may well vary. You might have different wants or needs than I do, especially if you're wanting a device that you can use for gaming in addition to work. But overall, if you need a device that you're going to use to do more work or schooling than gaming, a Mac is definitely, in my opinion, the way to go. It's just a lot more user-friendly than a Windows PC is going to be. And don't get me wrong, there is a big learning curve when you switch. For me personally, I've been using Windows computers ever since I started using computers. So I really do know Windows PCs very well, and I've always loved using them in the past. And when I opened up my MacBook for the first time, I was very overwhelmed with all the new things that I needed to learn. I didn't really know how any of it worked. I didn't know there wasn't a right click button on the MacBook. Obviously, with time, you will learn and adapt to those changes just like I did. And once you're at that point where you kind of know how everything works, I think you'd agree with me that it is definitely worth it to make the switch over to Mac. So what do you think about Macs? And what do you think about the Apple ecosystem? Do you have any interest in switching over to it from PC? Let's have a conversation about it down below in the comments. And if you learned something new from this video or just found it helpful in any way, please make sure you press the like button. It really helps out my channel a lot. I make a lot of Apple related and tech content. So if that's something you might be interested in, feel free to subscribe. I'd love to have you. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you'll enjoy this one as well. Thank you so much for watching.